So you're thinking about upgrading your car's stereo with a Pioneer DMH-W4660NEX, the head unit that promises wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and that big 6.8-inch touchscreen. But here's what surprised me after using it for months. This isn't the seamless upgrade you might expect. Therefore, I'm going to tell you exactly why you might want to reconsider, revealing the headaches hidden behind that glossy screen. For the best price, click the link in the description. Let's start with the obvious appeal. The DMH-W4660NEX looks fantastic on paper. A 4.2-star rating on Amazon, a price around $500, wireless smartphone mirroring, and a capacitive touchscreen. It sounds like the perfect modern dash upgrade, right? But the reality of daily use can be very different from the spec sheet. Therefore, I installed it, and I immediately noticed the first major issue: the screen. They call it a floating display, which is cool, but the actual user experience feels dated. The interface, outside of CarPlay or Android Auto, is sluggish. Menus don't respond as quickly as you'd expect from a capacitive screen. It's like it has the touch technology of a modern phone, but the brain of a decade-old MP3 player. Imagine tapping for a function and waiting a beat for the system to catch up. It's frustrating when you're driving. Now, let's talk about the headline feature: wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This is the reason most people buy this unit. And when it works, it's great. No cables, your phone connects automatically. But here's the contrarian snapback: the wireless connection is notoriously unstable for many users. It will disconnect randomly. Sometimes when you start the car, it just won't connect at all, forcing you to go through a reboot dance. Turn off the car, wait, turn it on again. Other times it drops connection mid-drive. I had it happen while using navigation, which is not just annoying, it's dangerous if you're relying on directions. Therefore, you often end up plugging in the cable for a wired connection, which defeats the whole purpose of buying the wireless model. That's like buying a wireless charger that only works if you hold the cable in place. Then there's the audio. Pioneer is known for audio quality, and the built-in amp is decent. But the sound tuning and equalizer settings are buried in a labyrinthine menu system. Adjusting the sound to your liking isn't intuitive. It feels like you need a degree in audio engineering to find the right setting. Compared to some competitors, the out-of-the-box sound profile can be surprisingly flat unless you spend an hour tweaking it. Therefore, if you're not an audiophile who loves to tinker, you might be disappointed with the initial audio performance. Let's address Amazon Alexa integration. It's a cool idea to control your smart home from the car, but in practice, it's half-baked. The functionality requires a constant data connection and often misunderstands commands in the noisy car environment. Asking Alexa for the weather while the road noise is there. You might get a recipe for chicken instead. It's a feature that looks good in the description but feels like a beta test in real life. The installation and setup is another area where problems hide. The chassis dimensions are standard, but the wiring harness and initial configuration are not for beginners. The manual, which they point you to, is dense. Setting up the steering wheel controls, if you have them, or configuring the backup camera input, can be a nightmare without professional help. Therefore, that $500 price tag might quickly balloon to $800 if you need to pay for installation. And speaking of the backup camera capability, it's just capable. It doesn't come with a camera, you have to buy and install one separately. The unit just has the input. That's not a feature, it's a reminder of work you still have to do. Now, a joke to lighten the mood. Using this Pioneer's voice commands feels like talking to a toddler who's only listened to half of what you said. You say, "Play my driving playlist," and it might start reading you the Wikipedia page for driving. Let's look at the top reviews from actual buyers. Many of the 4-star and 5-star reviews praise the features when they work. But the critical 3-star and lower reviews consistently highlight the wireless connectivity drops, the sluggish interface, and the complex setup. These aren't one-off complaints, they're a pattern. Therefore, the 4.2-star average might be masking recurring issues that could affect your experience. Is there anything good? Yes. When CarPlay or Android Auto is stable, the 6.8-inch display is nice for maps and music. The Bluetooth for basic phone calls is generally solid. The physical build quality is good. It looks premium in the dash. But these are baseline expectations for a $500 device, not standout virtues. Therefore, the value proposition gets shaky when the core smart features are unreliable. Here's another joke. The DMH-W4660NEX is like a friend who promises to help you move, shows up with a fancy truck, but then spends the whole day trying to figure out how to open the tailgate. So who is this actually for? It might be okay for someone who predominantly uses wired connections and doesn't mind a slower menu system, or for the DIY enthusiast who loves configuring every setting. But for the average driver who wants a smooth, reliable, wireless smart integration upgrade, this unit presents significant hurdles. Therefore, you should consider your tolerance for tech troubleshooting before buying. What are the alternatives? There are other head units in this price range from brands like Sony or Kenwood that might offer more stable wireless performance or a cleaner user interface. Sometimes, paying a bit more for a higher-end model from another brand, or even a lower-end model that specializes in just one thing reliably, could be a better use of your money. Third joke. Buying this Pioneer hoping for seamless wireless connectivity is like expecting a cat to fetch. It might happen once, but don't plan your day around it. Let's wrap this deep dive with the final verdict. The Pioneer DMH-W4660NEX is a product with great ambitions but flawed execution. The wireless connectivity issues are a deal-breaker for many. The sluggish native interface feels outdated. The setup complexity adds hidden cost and frustration. Therefore, I cannot recommend it as a straightforward upgrade for most people. The problems outweigh the promises. However, if you are aware of these issues and are prepared to possibly use it wired, or you get it installed professionally and accept its quirks, it can still function. But you should go into that purchase with lowered expectations. Final joke. This receiver is the in-car equivalent of a superhero with awesome powers, but who gets a headache every time he tries to use them. So, the resolution is clear. Don't buy the Pioneer DMH-W4660NEX if you prioritize reliability and a smooth user experience. The potential for daily frustration is too high. Consider other options that deliver on the core promise of stable smartphone integration without the hidden headaches. Therefore, for a better, more reliable choice, check the links in the description where I've compiled alternatives that might suit your needs better, along with the best current price for the Pioneer if you still decide to proceed. Click the link in the description now.